Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
In Memoriam 2024 starts now.
It'll be lots of fun.
A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, Simba, the sun will set on my time here.
Hey, Twitter world, this is yours truly.
You suck, you jackass.
Hi, I'm Brenda. Just remember, the key to being happy in this school is to forget about everybody else and just be your own person.
My, that's the bestest looking wig I've ever seen.
What are you looking at?
No.
It's not a wig.
I know that, sir. Come on.
Kidding? It's not a rug either.
Are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests?
You don't need any help from me, sir.
That's right.
I thought you didn't like him.
I have plenty of friends I don't like.
In every class, there's always one joker who thinks that he's smarter than me.
I'm gonna squash that serpent in the egg.
Apollo Creed meets the Italian stallion.
Sounds like a damn monster movie.
I never allow personal despair to interfere with my professional commitments. I am a professional actress.
How are you?
I've never felt better in my entire life.
The way you can talk about reading, writing, arithmetic, you can also talk about sex.
Right.
Music for me is definitely evolving as I get older, and also as I figure out more about what I want to do rather than listening to loads of different opinions about stuff.
It's not necessarily how big the talent is, it's how well you use it. And I think in the end of things, when I look back and add things up, I've used it pretty well.
How do you like me now?
I love you.
May I ask you to join me in thanking all these guests?
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
injury, and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details
that has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death. In
entertainment.
Hello, Deados.
How you doing?
Hope you had a great Christmas.
And I hope you're having a wonderful start to the year.
Yes.
Or ending of the year, depending on when you hear this.
This is the final episode of 2024 where we commemorate all the people we've seen on screen, on the fields, on stage.
And people that we've heard.
Yes.
Singing or talking.
People we've loved and lost this year.
There's always a lot of big ones.
Too many.
You know?
Yeah.
We can't stop it.
Father Time marches on.
Nobody gets out of this thing alive.
No. Which is why we're raising our drinks right now.
Yes. Toast.
Toast to you. Toast to everybody listening. Thank you for bearing with us this year. Been through a lot of ups and downs, and we're ready for 2025.
No pun intended with Ben.
Yeah.
But we are looking forward to the new year because we have a lot of big plans.
Yes.
And if you've stuck with us, you're going to see that it was worth it.
Yes. Exactly.
And for the new listeners, wow, hey, you came at the right time.
Yeah. We had Joe Exotic on this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of big guests.
Yeah. And Ben Kissel a bunch of times.
Yes. Semi-regular here.
Yeah, a lot of great episodes. And we lost Mark Mulcairn.
Yes. That's the biggest one we can start off with in Memoriam.
Oh,
he
yeah.
is alive and well. But we lost him to another segment of the entertainment industry.
The more successful part.
Yeah, he went from podcasting to writing, and we love him so much and still keep in touch and see him all the time.
So, absolutely.
Before we look forward to 2025, we got to look back at everybody we lost this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. We got a whole bunch of segments of the entertainment industry, and we're starting it off, I guess, with athletes.
This is quite the category.
Yes.
We got O.J. Simpson.
Wow, starting off the shit list early.
Running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did a few Naked Gun movies.
Oh, is that all he did?
Okay, next on the list.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about O.J.?
Oh, I thought we were going to get, a last minute deathbed confession.
Yeah.
but we were not rewarded with that.
But do we know that he didn't do that?
We don't know that he didn't do it, but I feel like...
What did you think? He was going to live stream it?
Yeah, he should have live streamed it. He could have made a bunch of money for his family and the Goldmans.
He did love Twitter or X.
What's up, Twitter world?
Yours truly.
Yours truly.
And one of his last videos was around the Super Bowl time, and he said, "Hospice? I'm in hospice?"
Talk about hospice?
Be back on the golf course very soon.
Yeah.
I think he meant the golf course in, I was going to say heaven.
In the afterlife.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Somewhere. I don't know if there's grass that grows around fire.
So he's one of the rare people that got away with murder.
Yeah, as far as we can tell.
As far as, do you need more evidence?
Not really.
We did a whole special on him live when he died.
Right.
Really, all you can say is, what a figure.
What a life.
What a life.
Jeez.
But I will say he is in one of my favorite movies of all time.
Naked Gun?
Naked Gun 33 and a Third,
Wow.
The Final Insult, which came out months before he murdered his wife and a waiter.
Oof.
As Norm Macdonald would say.
Aptly put it.
All right, well, next on the list is Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Another controversial sports figure.
Yeah, the hits leader in the MLB to this day.
But I'm not sure he's in the Hall of Fame.
He is definitely not in the Hall of Fame.
Do you think that's fair?
He's not allowed. I think it's extremely unfair. They have a no tolerance policy in all of sports for people who bet on games, especially games they're involved in. And when he was the coach of the Reds from 1984 to 1989, he had placed a number of bets on his team only to win. So this, to me, is a tragedy that he was never let in the Hall of Fame. He is one of the best hitters, arguably the best hitter of all time. He has 4,256 hits, still has never been touched by anyone. He's the all-time leader in hits, games played, at-bats, singles, and outs. He won 3 World Series, 3 batting titles, and 1 MVP, 2 Gold Gloves, and the Rookie of the Year award. 17 All-Star appearances in 5 different positions. This is absolutely unheard of.
You have to honor his achievements.
Absolutely. And MLB has always taken the stance that they're not going to let him in, but it's always been whispered that they will put him in when he dies. So I'd be surprised if he's not inducted next year. They wouldn't give him the satisfaction of finally admitting that they were, not completely right. Were they wrong? Not necessarily. But when you look at the bets, they were always to win. He was not throwing games.
Yeah, it wasn't Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction.
Right. It wasn't the White Sox, in the early 1900s. They threw the World Series.
Right.
Because they bet. And
the 8 men out.
Yes, exactly. So they didn't throw any games. He only wanted to make money off of their wins. And did he need the extra money? Probably not. But he liked the thrill. He liked the juice. The action is the juice.
OJ?
Yeah. And I think it's a tragedy he was not let in while he was still alive.
Yeah, because his crime, he didn't murder anybody.
No, he
You know
didn't.
what I'm saying? All right, well, the next group of people, I think you are very qualified to handle.
Sid Vicious from every wrestling outfit there possibly could be, the WWF, WCW, and more.
Which Sid Vicious came first, the Sex Pistols or the wrestler?
Probably the Sex Pistols.
Was it like a tongue-in-cheek name or just, what do they call it, parallel thinking?
Well, he was Sid Udy, Sid Justice, Sid Steel, Sid Vicious, Vicious Warrior, Sid Cyclope, Psycho Sid with a P, and then Psycho Sid with no P.
Okay.
So
a lot of different names.
Yeah. He is a legendary wrestler. He was one of the first people to bring someone with Down syndrome with him he brought his neighbor's kid. He had Down syndrome and he used him as his manager for an episode. So he was like, come on, man, come on the show with me. And he actually let him cut a promo. It was fucking amazing.
Wow.
Has one of the gnarliest injuries you'll ever see in wrestling. He jumped off the top rope to kick somebody, but tried to land on one foot. Very thin ankles, this guy. He was a huge dude, but very thin. He landed on his ankle. His entire leg from the knee down went sideways.
Oh, my God.
It's brutal. But he is a legendary wrestler.
That's gotta hurt.
He's got main events at WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 13. Those are in 92 and 97, respectively, and WCW Starrcade in 2000. So he was a big-time guy.
Yeah.
R.I.P. And then we got Afa Anoi. This is...
we got a couple of Anois.
Yes. They were known as the Wild Samoans, and they were related to and trained by Rocky Johnson and Peter Maivia, who are direct descendants, relatives. They're not descendants. They're like the upper ones, the ones before The Rock. What do you call the people who were before? The ancestors.
Oh, there you go. I've heard of that word.
Yeah, the Wild Samoans, they were early on in the WWF, 1979 to 1995. They were managed by Lou Albano.
And Sika, is it? The other brother?
Yes. So they both died at the same time?
No.
Oh, they're right next to each other.
But they died very close to each other.
Yeah, so Afa died August 16th, 2024 at age 80. He died of a heart attack, and that's less than 2 months after Sika's death, which is crazy.
Has to be related, right? Like when an old couple dies at the same time.
Die of a broken heart.
They made it pretty far, though, for wrestlers. 80 and 79.
It's pretty crazy.
That's like 120 in wrestling years.
Yeah. Sika actually had a son named Joseph who played college football for Georgia Tech from 2003 to 2006 before beginning their professional wrestling career in 2010, winning the WWE Championship on multiple occasions, also known as Roman Reigns.
Oh.
Who is like one of the biggest wrestlers in wrestling right now.
Yeah, so it was a dynasty.
Their whole family, they're the bloodline. That's what The Rock and Roman Reigns are going for now in the WWE.
Okay.
Sokoa, Anoi, the Maivias, the Johnsons, they are all the same family. That's where The Rock came from. The Rock is Roman Reigns' older cousin. And so these are his uncles.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Like official uncle?
Yes.
Like blood related?
Yes.
Wow.
So that whole family they are absolutely a wrestling dynasty. Virgil, Michael Charles Jones, also known as Virgil. He died this year. I totally forgot. This is really sad. He wrestled as Virgil, like I said, but he was the right-hand man of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Oh.
He was the bodyguard for DiBiase, and DiBiase was such an asshole.
Why?
Because he was just a bad guy. There was one promo that they did. They picked this kid out of the audience, and they were like, "Oh, we heard you're good at basketball." He was probably like 7 years old, and he's like, "If you can dribble the ball 5 times, I'll give you $10,000." And so they hand him a basketball, and the kid really thinks he's about to win, and he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Ted DiBiase kicks the ball out of his hand, and Virgil's holding the 10 grand in his hand, fanned out. And the kid just like goes back into the crowd crying. They were like the worst villains ever, but it was awesome. So these guys are absolutely like Hall of Fame level wrestlers and, just personalities that were involved in the wrestling industry. Kevin Sullivan was also a booker. He is actually, he passed away August 9th, 2024 he died in Massachusetts, complications of a blood clot. And his name is specifically crazy because a lot of people think he killed Chris Benoit.
Yeah, they had that feud.
Yeah.
You showed me a video where he's issuing a warning that family comes first. Because didn't Chris Benoit steal Kevin Sullivan's girl?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the one that he murdered.
Yeah, they think that Kevin Sullivan went over there and set the whole thing up.
That would definitively prove that wrestling is real.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Sullivan's ex-wife, Nancy.
Nancy, that's right.
Yeah, they said Kevin Sullivan and Nancy Benoit's real-life relationship dissolved amidst an infamous wrestling angle in WCW where Nancy managed Chris Benoit and the two became involved in an extramarital affair. Yeah, I forgot about this. While the situation undoubtedly hurt Sullivan, he later expressed regret for his role in the dissolution of their marriage. He publicly accepted responsibility for his part in their relationship's collapse. He never acted out in a way that indicated anything beyond personal heartbreak. Despite the strain of the affair and divorce, Sullivan's life was far from the downward spiral conspiracy theorists would have you believe. Sullivan found love again and built a stable family life by the time Chris Benoit was killed, or killed himself.
That is wild, though, that they had this major feud. And then Chris Benoit ends up killing his entire family and himself.
Yeah.
Besides one of the kids who wasn't home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that is a crazy stretch of wrestlers that all...
A great performer, though, Kevin Sullivan.
Oh, absolutely.
And next we have Willie Mays.
Yes.
A legend in baseball. 23 seasons. And began in the Negro Leagues.
Yep.
Isn't that sick?
It's crazy that actually is a part of our history. And once they were let in, they just kicked the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. Rookie of the Year in 1951.
I mean, look at this.
MVP.
24-time All-Star. World Series champion. 2-time NL MVP. NL Rookie of the Year. 12-time Gold Glove Award winner. NL batting champion. 4-time NL home run leader. 4-time stolen base leader. He hit 4 home runs in one game on April 30th, 1961. The Giants retired number 24. The New York Mets retired number 24. You have multiple teams retiring your number, and you make the All-Star team 24 times. That's pretty good.
I'll say.
And of course, his over-the-shoulder catch in Game 1 of the 1954 World Series is one of the most famous and clipped baseball plays of all time. It's incredible.
Yeah.
There's too much to even get into here.
Exactly.
He's, just an absolute legend. And
one of the best, maybe the best.
Yeah. He was born in Alabama and died in Palo Alto, California, 93 years old. Absolute legend.
Yeah, and a good long life.
Yeah, it's when you see someone who has that level of success, it's awesome to see that it doesn't go to their head and they don't just squander everything.
Oh, yeah.
They actually get to take care of everyone they love and live a productive life.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next we got Bill Walton.
Oh, the Celtics hippie himself.
71 years old. He was a Grateful Dead groupie, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah.
Groupie may not be the right word, but he was a deadhead.
He was, yeah, not a deado, a deadhead.
Exactly.
If he knew about us, he might have liked us. Yeah, man,
How do you know he didn't listen to us?
Yeah, well, that's true. We can't prove that he didn't. He was born in La Mesa, California, died May 27th, 2024 in San Diego, California. 6'11" and only 210 pounds. The guy was a string bean. He famously went to UCLA, where a lot of people went. He was the 1974 first overall NBA draft pick in the first round. He was drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers and then went to the LA Clippers and then finished his career with the almighty Boston Celtics, where he won a championship in 1986.
Became one of the most successful broadcasters in the NBA.
Yeah, he was great. Very much not what you would expect.
Someone you could listen to if you weren't really that into the game.
Right.
Like Bob Uecker for the Brewers.
Sure. Yeah. Huge fan of Grateful Dead, it says here. He was started attending concerts in 1967 while he was still in high school.
Oh my gosh, he was at the forefront.
He went to 850 Grateful Dead concerts in his life.
And teaser, Grateful Dead will be coming up again.
Ooh.
Well, R.I.P. Bill Walton.
Yes. When he died, they put his number on, the Celtics put his number on their jerseys and they won the championship the year he died.
Oh.
Yes.
Which was this year.
Yes. June of 2024.
Next on the list is, what can you say?
You can say a lot.
A legend.
Absolutely.
An icon.
Yes.
Carl Weathers.
Mm-hmm.
Action Jackson himself.
Yeah.
He starred in that very underrated movie with Vanity.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a football player and went to the Oakland Raiders and was playing as a linebacker and then was like, I want to go to the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I heard that's lucrative.
Yeah.
He conquered it. Obviously, the Rocky movies, Apollo Creed.
Legend. And then, I didn't realize this, it was Adam Sandler that originally was the first person to get him into comedy.
Really?
And he was incredible. Yeah, because he was in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore, but he hadn't done a comedy before that?
No, it was all action and punching people, being the hero, Predator. He was in a ton of stuff that, was just all guns and fighting. And then all of a sudden here he comes and he's just like, it's all in the hips.
Chubbs Peterson.
Yep. And what's interesting about that, I didn't even realize this till recently, is that when he was in Predator, he got his arm completely blown off.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to make it a continuation of that role, which is why his right arm was wooden in Happy Gilmore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was like an inside joke, like, oh, this is the same guy.
Oh, that's clever.
He came home from battling the aliens and fucking became a golf instructor.
I did not know that Happy Gilmore was that deep.
Yeah,
There's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it was like an inside joke while they were writing it and on set. But I think that's hilarious. I just heard that story.
And he went on to do stints in Arrested Development, and that led to more comedy.
Yeah, he was very good at comedy.
In fact, he ended with comedy because he did that Super Bowl commercial with Gronk.
Yep. And
he died before it could air, and they did a tribute to him this year.
They had to censor it or like reshoot it.
I think all it entailed was adding a RIP.
No, but I think there were rumors that he died in the commercial.
Oh, really?
And so they had to replace it. Yeah, they had to reshoot it like quickly before the Super Bowl.
In 30 seconds, they had a whole plot where he dies?
Yeah. Well, it was a series. It was like leading up to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's Gronk trying to kick a field goal.
Yeah, I don't know. Something happened.
Okay. I know what you mean, though. There were whispers that there were some edits.
Yeah.
You'd have to, right? I mean, he died.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
And all the athletes.
Yes. And now we're on to musicians.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. Let's start with Liam Payne.
Oof.
31 years old. Jumped, fell, pushed. Who can keep up? Off of an Argentina balcony.
I guess we can officially say fell.
3 people were charged with supplying narcotics. So he was totally messed up and then fell. Is that the...
He was trying to escape. So he had thrown a bag to the balcony underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
That was like his escape bag. And so he threw that down and he was trying to get to the balcony underneath and he didn't get to it.
That's how it happened?
That's the prevailing theory.
Wow. Let's say he's a ghost now and can look on and see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
He must be thinking like, oh my God, what a dope.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently he had done that at other hotels where he scaled down, just jumping from balcony to balcony.
He survived doing that before.
Yeah. So when they found his actual bag on the bottom one, they were like, oh shit, he was trying to do it again.
That is a terrible idea. That's a terrible habit to have.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just going to scale down to the balcony below me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is one of those that we did the episode within the same week he died.
Yes.
The closest we've ever come to that is Anne Heche.
Right.
And we did not know this then.
No, we didn't.
But we weren't far off.
Yeah, I mean, he was on clonazepam, whiskey, pink cocaine, that's MDMA, you name it, he was doing it. Crack, benzos. It's a lot.
What wasn't he on?
That's easier to say.
And he was part of one of the biggest boy bands in the world.
Yeah, which I said this during the episode too, but I didn't realize that Simon Cowell put them together because of the X Factor.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of guys that auditioned individually, and then he's like, let me just throw you guys together.
It's that mix of luck and talent.
Yeah, exactly.
That can be a winning combination.
It worked.
R.I.P. Liam Payne. This is one that is huge for us.
Yeah, this is in the Die universe.
Jack Russell, 63 years young.
Last year, we could have gone to actually see him at a small venue.
It's so true. I blame you. I wanted to go, and then you changed my mind. You're like, let's just go to the bar. Let's go to Little Tony's instead.
Yeah.
Now we will never see Jack Russell live.
No. We probably could have talked to him, too.
For sure.
Yeah.
He, of course, is from Great White, and Great White burned a nightclub down at one point.
Killing over 100 people.
Oof. One of our biggest episodes.
Yeah. I ended up going to the site, if you haven't seen it, on our TikTok or Instagram.
You did. What did that feel like? Because at that point, we had studied it. We'd done an episode on it. You knew all about it for years. So what was it like being at Ground Zero?
It was interesting in the fact that it was in like a neighborhood. and it was right on the street.
Which is what we said during the episode that the neighbors would complain about the music coming from
There's a person's house right next to the park.
Mhm.
And I couldn't believe actually living in a house right there and just hearing the shittiest music ever just coming out all the time.
And we could go on and on about this, but that neighbor is the one sold them the flammable foam, remember?
Exactly. It was very surreal, and it didn't actually hit me that was really the place where it happened until after I left. I was like, wow, that was literally the site of one of the most horrific tragedies and pieces of media I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. And in some ways, I feel for Jack Russell. It was a burden to carry.
Yeah.
He was involved, though. He wanted pyrotechnics.
Yeah, and a member of his own band died.
Well, it was a sessions player.
Oh, jeez.
It was only a sessions player.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, is that what he said?
That's exactly what he said.
Oh,
I don't know.
We've beat him over the head long enough. I think I also do feel for him.
He did not mean to kill anybody.
Right.
He really didn't.
Yeah, and I think that's the best thing we could say.
Yeah. Let's move on. Shifty Shell Shock. 49 years old from Crazy Town. And I'm not talking about a theoretical location. I'm talking about the band.
I'm not
Butterfly, baby.
Crazy Town. We're talking about my ex-wife, where she's from. Yeah, this is a crazy one. It was
crazy one. Yeah, it's Crazy Town.
It was really disheartening to see what he had become.
I haven't been able to find anything about this, but when we were talking about Jonathan Brandis and Soleil Moonfry and how she has a body count bigger than Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, exactly.
You said that she was dating Shifty Shell Shock.
Yeah,
right before he died.
Yeah. Yahoo, 5 days before he died, posted about how they had just gotten back together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and my buddy who's in a band was telling me, like, dude, this guy is like so far gone. He had shown me a video of him, of Shifty Shell Shock in Crazy Town performing in like a bookstore. And at this point, I don't even know if it was like sanctioned or if they just went into the corner of a bookstore and just started filming themselves singing Sugarfly, Butter, Baby.
How many times did they have to play that?
He had like no teeth. He was like homeless and like just pruned looking. Like it was very sad. He looked a shell of his former self.
A shifty shell.
Shock.
You know what? How hard is it to write a good song? Great White didn't even do that.
Yeah.
Because it was a cover.
That's right.
Once bitten, twice shy. But Crazy Town had Butterfly, and Shifty Shell Shock worked with Paul Oakenfold on one of my bangers in the 2000s.
Yes.
Starry-Eyed Surprise.
Off the album Smash Hits, Let's Party.
You know what? Go park your car in the countryside, get out a couple of cold brews, look at the stars, and blare Starry-Eyed Surprise.
Hell yeah.
Maybe take some ecstasy, too.
Hey, that sounds good.
All right, R.I.P. Next, we got John Wysocki, drummer of Stained.
Wow, founding drummer. I didn't know he passed away.
Yeah.
Damn.
He has that familiar look, doesn't he?
He does.
But yet I'm like, why should I know the drummer of Stained? What did he die of?
Complications with his liver. Yeah.
And then we have another drummer, Bob Breyer, 44 years old, from My Chemical Romance.
Oh, this is a crazy one.
Okay.
He died like right after the election.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently
he was not a Trump fan?
No. There's been rumors.
He was so distraught about the results.
He was last seen the day before the election, November 4th, 2024. And he wasn't found until November 26th. I believe there was some sort of rumor that came out saying he was not happy about what had happened.
God.
I could be wrong.
You know what, people? Calm down.
Yeah.
Remember when it was puppet on the left versus puppet on the right? We're going to survive.
Exactly.
Don't go missing for 20 days and then die.
It's either a douche or a turd sandwich. Have you seen South Park? He was born in Chicago, Illinois, and died. This is actually a crazy town name, Shelbyville, Tennessee.
That's a place in The Simpsons.
It's the rival of Springfield.
Yeah, Shelbyville. I didn't know that was real.
I've never heard of a real Shelbyville, so that's at least a little interesting.
You know what's funny is Shelbyville, when I was a kid, I would always imagine it as North Fond du Lac.
Is that a different town?
Yeah, so it always felt like that was the Shelbyville of Fond du Lac.
Yeah, I used to do a show at this place called Kitty's in Reading. It was in North Reading, and I was like, I remember I first went on stage, and I was like, what's up, Reading? And they're like, it's North Reading. And I was like, what, is that a different town? They were like, actually, yes. We fucking hate Reading.
And what a lazy way to name a town.
It's awful.
And don't get me started on the states. There's more at stake there. North Carolina, get out of here.
Oh, boy.
And yet there's no Carolina.
No, it's only South.
Get with it, people.
I know.
Who we talking about?
On to the next.
Okay.
Which everybody knows this music. Andy Paley. He did the soundtrack pretty much to SpongeBob SquarePants.
And you know what else he did the music for?
The Ren and Stimpy Show.
Okay, yeah. That's what we grew up with.
But that was his band's music. Can you imagine going and seeing that live and then being like, wait a second. Bow, 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 bow.
And that obviously was so influential. I mean, the South Park theme, I think, borrowed a lot from that.
Yeah.
Just that twangy, like, it was kind of like a alternative rock twang.
Ren and Stimpy, yeah, it was more rock.
Exactly.
Yeah. SpongeBob was a little bit more.
Oh, no,
laid
SpongeBob
back.
is. Yeah, like Hawaiian.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I love that aesthetic. I really do.
But that's the music he was playing live. It's so crazy.
You know, I feel like I missed out on him. Because I read that him and Tom Kenny from Mr. Show,
yes,
he and Paley would tour together.
Yeah, they were in a band.
That would have been awesome. See, who else? Jack Russell.
Yes.
We're missing all these people, Kyle.
Yeah, I just found out that Tom Kenny and his wife Jill Talley were the two people in the Tonight Tonight Smashing Pumpkins video.
Oh, really?
Yes, that have the umbrellas and they're getting thrown around and jumping into different scenes.
The one that's inspired by George Méliès from early 1900s.
Exactly. But Andy Paley has ties to Boston too. He moved to Boston and became the founding drummer of the Boston, Massachusetts band Catfish Black.
Wow.
You know?
There are careers that are like amazing, careers that are legendary, and then there are careers that are cool. That's Andy Paley.
Yeah, it sucks. He was diagnosed with throat cancer, and then he was treated and had been cancer-free in September of 2024, and then it was found to have returned on November 7th, 2024. And he was admitted to a hospital in Burlington, Vermont, and died shortly after on November 20th at the age of 73.
Well, that sucks.
That really does suck. To be that hopeful, to be like, it's gone, and then 6 weeks later, it's back. That sucks.
Who do we have next?
Dwayne Eddy.
Oh, this guy's awesome. Rebel Rouser, surf rock. Those instrumentals, you know, from the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
This is the kind of thing that Tarantino would have on the jukebox.
Yeah. While he's staring at feet.
Speaking of twang, this is the Sultan of Twang.
Sultan of Twang?
I just nicknamed him that myself.
In the 90s, his songs appeared on soundtracks, including Forrest Gump, Natural Born Killers, Broken Arrow, Milk Money, and Scream 2.
See, what did I say? Tarantino, Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. And Robert Zemeckis' Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Broken Arrow with Christian Slater.
And John Travolta.
John Travolta is the bad guy.
That's actually a good action movie. John Woo.
Milk Money with Ed Harris.
Oh, my God. He was all over the night. Okay, hold on. Name a 90s movie he wasn't in.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Yeah. Scream 2 with Jada Pinkett Smith.
He's just a master guitarist. What else can you say?
Can't say much more.
And we got a lot more to say. We got Charles Dumont next.
Dumont.
94 years old. The partner of Edith Piaf.
But of course.
And he wrote the song, Non je ne regrette rien.
Yeah.
You know that song.
I don't know.
Okay. You're not very cultured.
Not at all.
We'll move on.
I stole Tang from the dumpsters.
We got Frankie Beverly.
Oh.
He was from the funk band Maze. Came out of Philadelphia.
A lot of Philly guys that came out and sang gospel music and then made it big.
Oh, yeah.
Motown Philly back again.
And then we got Maurice Williams, who founded the Zodiacs.
What?
You know what song they had?
Oh, the Zodiacs is a group. I thought you meant like the Zodiac system.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, it's no less an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
They had the song Stay.
Oh.
Stay just a little bit longer.
That's a great one.
I always say this. If you can write one good song that catches the public's attention, you're good.
You're immortalized.
Yeah. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Imagine writing. I was listening to some music today and I'm thinking, how do you write this?
Right.
Like, how do you get to the chorus? How do you get to the whatever? I don't even know.
The bridge?
Yeah, there you go. All I know is the Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gay?
I said gate.
San Fran.
Zodiacs.
Yes.
Doo-wop.
Doo-wop.
So this is a legend in that field.
Yeah.
Maurice Williams.
R.I.P.
And then we got
Saphir. He was born as Reggie Gibson, and he lived with Tupac Shakur and became a dancer for Digital Underground.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
How crazy is that?
He must have been in nothing but trouble then.
He probably was.
You know, the great Dan Aykroyd directed movie.
Yes. He was in Menace to Society as Harold Lawson.
With Jada Pinkett.
That's right. And he was also, he was starring in the film, was also featured on the film soundtrack.
Wow.
On July 30th, 1992, he was one of the passengers flying on TWA Flight 843 and suffered a horrific back injury as a consequence of evacuating an aborted takeoff and consequent hard landing, crash, and fire.
I thought you were going to say Flight 800. I'm like, well, didn't he die this year?
43 off. There were no fatalities in that, but there were 10 injuries, one of which he was one.
Is TWA still an airline?
No, after the big one in the Everglades, they were done.
That's done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark D. Ross, otherwise known as Brother Marquis, as an American rapper. He was from Two Live Crew, and he passed away this year.
Two Live Crew.
Yeah,
They had that one song, Love Me Long Time. What was it?
Was it Me So Horny?
Oh, yeah, Me So Horny. Excuse me. I didn't mean to offend anybody.
Oh, Me So Horny. Yeah, he was a born-again Christian, but...
Shut the French windows.
Didn't have any moral restrictions when he performed Two Live Crew.
That is a great way to do it. I'm a family man. I don't curse. But on stage, I get wacky.
He died of a heart attack on June 3rd, 2024, at the age of 58.
So that's in between. It ain't Liam Payne kind of tragedy. But it's still pretty young.
50's too early, man.
It really is. Well, 58.
Well, I'm saying the 50s.
Oh, 50s.
Yeah, the 50s.
Gotcha. Speaking of the 50s, Boss died at age 54.
Boss?
It's Lachelle Marie Laws.
Oh.
She was a rapper from Detroit before Eminem, I might add. And she had her album Born Gangstas. And that reached number 3 on the Billboard's hip-hop albums chart.
Yeah.
In 93. The 90s. Was that the pinnacle of hip-hop?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're thinking of Limp Bizkit.
No, hip-hop.
I just don't think you can beat the 90s.
No, all this mumble rap bullshit now, it just stinks.
Here I am, my hand in my pocket. I'm taking a piss and I'm taking a shit. Like, fucking, hey, look at me. Talk to me.
Quit looking at the ground.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Talk to Boss.
Jeez.
She was like a boss before that became a cliche for women.
Girl boss.
And then we got, this is a big one. Eric Carmen.
Hungry eyes.
And All by Myself. He was in a band called the Raspberries, not to be confused with the Cranberries.
Nope.
They weren't quite as big as the Cranberries.
No.
The Raspberries. I'm going to start a band called the Blueberries.
There you go. I think we covered. No, there was a band called the Blueberries.
Was there?
I think we covered them like 4 years ago.
Okay.
There's something.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yes, the Blueberries.
Okay. He toured with Ringo Starr.
I don't know if that's one of his crowning accomplishments.
All by myself. That's one of those cliche songs to use in a movie if you're depressed.
Yeah.
That and the REM song.
Losing My Religion?
No.
Shining Happy People?
No, the other one.
Everybody hurts
sometimes.
Yeah. Hungry Eyes, I got yelled at for singing it too loud at my mom's work. She worked at a nursing home and it was like 5 a.m. before I had to go to school. And I had a Walkman that I listened to and I had Hungry Eyes, the single, and was singing it with the headphones on and apparently woke everybody up.
I'd be pissed too.
I got yelled at. Yeah, some kid just screaming, Hungry Eyes!
Jesus.
One look at you and I can't.
You could have killed somebody in their sleep.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Which, by the way, Eric Carmen died in his sleep.
Yes. His wife, Amy, announced that he had died in his sleep over the previous weekend. So she waited a week to let everybody know. That was March 11th, 2024. He died at 74.
What do you got against her for waiting a week?
I don't know.
That is settle.
Well, it's a weird way to say this. On March 11th, 2024, Carmen's wife, Amy, announced that he had died in his sleep over the previous weekend at the age of 74. This sounds weird.
Okay. You know what else is weird?
What?
The next entry.
Oh, 3 members of a family gospel group die in plane crash.
This is the Nealons?
The Nealons.
The Nealons.
Yeah. A husband, wife, and their daughter who performed together in American gospel group The Nealons.
No relation to Kevin Nealon.
Yeah. Have been killed in a plane crash along with 4 other people. Jesus.
That's awful. I can't even imagine a husband, a wife, and their daughter. That's an entire family just wiped out.
Oof. There was another member that wasn't on board.
Oh, my God.
And that's their other daughter. She confirmed the death of her parents and sister on Instagram.
You know what?
It's sick.
Yeah.
Their aircraft came down over Wyoming on its way to a performance. Amber's husband, Nathan Kissel, the family's assistant, Melody Hodges, and pilot Larry Haney, and his wife, Melissa Haney, were also killed. They were on their way to Seattle to join a cruise ship.
This is getting worse and worse.
They were going to go on a cold cruise.
I mean, didn't they see Titanic?
Oof.
The fuck wants to go on a cruise?
Especially, literally, the ones that leave Seattle go up to Alaska. The cold cruises.
That's like the cold sauna?
Yeah.
No, I want a hot sauna. How about that?
How about that?
I don't like being cold. Like, you go on a cruise, you're going to Alaska? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Bahamas.
Oof. Well, R.I.P. to them. Next up on the list is Mojo Nixon.
This guy's cool.
You like him?
The leader of the Psychobilly movement.
Psychobilly?
Yeah. It's wilder than Rockabilly.
Yeah.
And this guy, he had a novelty hit called Elvis is Everywhere. And then he appeared in the Super Mario Brothers movie as Toadstool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Alongside Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
I always forget that's Bob Hoskins.
Who did you think it was?
I have no idea.
Also cool, Kinky Friedman.
Oh.
A country songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Friedman was like a satirical performer.
Oh.
And ran for governor of Texas.
Yeah, they said he hoped to follow in the footsteps of other entertainers turned governors, including Jimmy Davis, Jesse Ventura, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Ronald Reagan. What a group.
To be a fly on the wall at that brunch.
Yeah.
Remember Rick Perry?
Sounds familiar.
The governor of Texas?
Oh, yeah.
He said Kinky Friedman was larger than life and will be remembered as one of the most interesting personalities in Texas politics.
Wow. Not music. That's rude.
He did everything.
I guess so.
He was an actor, too.
He wore many hats, but all of them big. It's a big hat. Turd Ferguson.
And then we got, I don't know how we can go so casually to this one.
Yeah.
Toby Keith.
Yeah, this is big. I can't believe he died in February.
Yeah.
I felt like it just happened.
No.
Almost a year ago now. Cripes.
So many big ones. Beer for My Horses. How Do You Like Me Now? Should Have Been a Cowboy. Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. One of the major anthems of 9/11. That's the one I think of first, actually.
Oh, really?
And Paul McCartney's shitty song, Freedom. But Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue captured the anger. I didn't appreciate it at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate Toby Keith at the time.
No.
I didn't like him.
Were you a country music guy?
I was an alt country guy.
Oh.
I love Johnny Cash. But I hated the pop country when I was in my teenage years. But then shortly after that, I started to appreciate it a lot more.
Right.
And Toby Keith is right there. Like, he had so many great songs. Like, you can put it on the jukebox and people will love it.
Yeah, I was very anti-country growing up in Boston. Thought it was corny. I didn't think people actually spoke or actually sang like that. I felt like it was just all a front. And then I went out to Western Mass in the woods in the Berkshire Mountains and found a lot of my friends loved country. And I Love This Bar was one of the things that was always put on the jukebox.
Oh, yeah.
That's Toby Keith right there.
What kind of cancer was it?
It was stomach cancer.
You imagine him as a bulky, strong, doesn't give a whip country singer.
Right.
And in his final years, he just looked decrepit.
Yeah, 2021, he had been diagnosed with stomach cancer, and then he went through chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. And yeah, he was almost a shell of himself. And he admitted to it being extremely debilitating. And then unfortunately died in his sleep in Oklahoma on February 5th, 2024, at the age of 62.
There's a lot of died in their sleeps on this list.
Yeah.
Which is
a
pretty good way to go.
That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Toby Keith.
And then we got J.D. Souther. He wrote some songs for the Eagles.
Oh.
They call him one of the architects of the Southern California sound.
Oh.
Which the Eagles defined, right? With Best of My Love, Heartache Tonight. What do you think of the Eagles? Or are you like Jeff Bridges from The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
Not the fucking Eagles, man.
I'm probably more towards that. Every time I hear Hotel California, I'm like, oh, God, not again.
I love it. I made an art piece out of Hotel California and nobody can ever recognize it.
What?
Yeah, in my apartment. I have it framed. I took the vinyl of Hotel California.
Yeah.
Put it in a frame. So it's just the hotel, the image.
Right.
And this is one of the biggest albums of all time.
Sure.
And nobody can ever guess that that's Hotel California in my frame. They think it's just a photo I framed.
I've probably seen it a million times and not even noticed.
No. I bet you don't know who's next on the list.
Dickie Betts.
All right, tell us about it.
Oh, I do know. Dickie Betts, he was a musician as well.
Yeah?
He was known as a longtime member of the Allman Brothers Band.
So not Southern California sound here. Purely Southern.
Right.
Southern rock, that is.
He wrote and sang Ramblin' Man.
I was born a rambling man. So good.
Yeah, I'll take that over the Eagles.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you're trading cards, I'll take the Allman Brothers over the Eagles.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, who we got next?
We've got Melanie.
So she is from the time of the Rolling Stones. She performed at Woodstock.
Oh.
And one of her most famous songs, well, actually, it is her most famous song, Brand New Key. You might not know the title.
No, I know that song.
I always think of Heather Graham and Boogie Nights with that one.
There was a commercial for a while that used that. And my stepfather was like, do you understand what it means to have a key with the skates? And I was like, no. And he was like, that's how they used to tighten them, was with a key.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
So they would form fit.
Yes.
Wow. I really didn't know what that song meant.
Yeah.
Brand new key. Wow.
I got a brand new key.
Yeah, that certainly doesn't translate to this era.
Yeah, they would tighten up with the key.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, I mean, he asked me that like 15 years ago. I was like, I have no idea what a roller skate key would possibly mean. And he's like, back in my day, we used to have to use a key for our roller skates.
And she was a proud libertarian. Next, we got a giant in the bassist industry. He played bass for a little band called the Grateful Dead.
Bum, bum, bum.
You ever heard of them?
Maybe.
Phil Lesh, 84 years old. He experimented and he influenced the band into going into the territory of jamming.
Psychedelic rock, man.
That's him. Major influence, not only on the band, but on the culture at large.
Right.
If he's not there, who's to say what would have happened with the Grateful Dead?
There was someone that commented on one of our videos imploring us to look into the connection between the CIA and the Grateful Dead. And that...
In what way?
The music was manufactured
to keep...
as a psyop.
Okay, to keep the population at bay?
Yeah.
Really?
To chill them out and sort of rile them up.
Well, there's something to be said about that.
So maybe Phil Lesh was a fucking...
What's wrong with that, by the way?
Government agent, man.
I'm trying to think. What is wrong with that?
What? So you don't have another revolution?
Well, like everyone's enjoying themselves. That sounds good to me. Like you go to a Grateful Dead show, that's all that matters. It really is all that matters.
I guess so. What's so bad about manufacturing a psyop to chill people out?
Yeah, well, I'm going to manufacture you in a minute. Might as well keep this train rolling.
Yes.
With Chris Christopherson.
Major.
Outlaw Country.
Dun, dun, dun.
You know what song he wrote?
The one?
Me and Bobby McGee.
Ooh.
Made famous by Janis Joplin. And if you want to see the place where she died, come and make a trip to LA and book a dipod tour.
Death on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
We'll show you where she died in Hollywood. But anyway, that doesn't matter right now because we're talking about Chris Christopherson.
Yes.
He also wrote Sunday Morning Come Down, which is about a hangover.
Oh, wow. Only on Sunday, huh?
He wrote for The Good Times, which Al Green made famous. And I love that song. He was also an actor, appeared in A Star Is Born with Barbra Streisand.
Yes.
He was the original Bradley Cooper, if you get my drift. You know what other movies he appeared in?
Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Martin Scorsese. He also appeared in the Blade movies. Remember him in Blade?
No.
Did you see Blade?
Of course. I had it on DVD.
Get the fuck out of here. You don't remember Chris Christopherson in Blade?
Oh, that's him?
Yes.
He's Whistler?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
I didn't know he was Whistler. That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
In fact, when I was a kid, I knew him as an actor. So I was shocked when I found out that he was like the second Bob Dylan or something.
I always thought he was an actor. I didn't know that he was a musician.
Oh, yeah. A major.
Till he died this year.
I mean, like he wrote songs with Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, like I mentioned, Al Green, Janis Joplin. He is sort of like Bob Dylan in that way where they made his songs more famous.
Right.
Because Johnny Cash did Sunday Morning Come Down.
Sure. That's absolutely nuts. I had no idea he was Whistler.
Speaking of giants, Quincy. And I'm not talking about Quincy, Massachusetts.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about Quincy Jones.
Ooh.
What can we say about Quincy Jones?
You could say quite a bit.
He is Rashida's dad. Okay, on to the next one. Nah, I mean, come on. This guy's he produced so much. He was involved with We Are the World, Thriller, the Austin Powers theme.
Yep.
Soul Bossa Nova, in case you're wondering. Film scores, that's what it's called.
What is?
The Austin Powers name.
Oh, yeah.
The Color Purple, In Cold Blood, Truman Capote. Mad TV.
Absolute classic, Mad TV.
Yeah. That's his greatest accomplishment.
Yeah.
There was the Time to Kill parody where the Sam Jackson character destroyed a white mailbox. He's like, I'm glad I cut it down.
I hope it burns in hell.
Yeah, it was something like that. So thank you, Quincy.
Yes.
Okay, so this next category.
Family. It's the Olive Garden.
When you're here, your family.
And you're dead.
Who do we got first? We got Sissy Houston.
Yes.
Whitney's mom.
Mm-hmm.
She was a gospel singer. I don't like her that much.
No?
Because there were rumors that Whitney and her best friend Robin were lesbian lovers. And Oprah asked her, would you have minded if your daughter was a lesbian? And Sissy Houston goes, yes.
Oh, God. I mean,
like, look at who you raised.
Live and let live.
You raised a woman that died in a fucking bathtub. Get over yourself.
Because she wasn't allowed to be who she was.
Yeah.
And had to go with Boston's own fucking Bobby Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
God. One of the most nefarious people in music. And that's saying a lot.
Then we got Betty A. Bridges. Todd's mom.
Oh, wow.
She also appeared on a bunch of shows like Good Times.
R.I.P.
Then we got Tommy Cash, Johnny's brother. Also a singer in his own right.
He's got a guitar, too. Johnny Cash's grandson, I don't know. Yeah, it's his grandson. So he sounds exactly like him now. He's on Instagram singing songs. It's crazy.
Oh, I got to see that.
He sounds it looks nothing like him. He's like a chubby dude, like big guy, but sounds exactly like him.
All right, I got to see that.
Yeah, so the Cash family still lives on.
And then we have Christopher Ciccone.
Father of Boney Ciccone.
Brother of Madonna.
Oh, Madonna.
So he choreographed all her tours in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh.
They were extremely close.
Wow.
And then she married Guy Ritchie, and their relationship was strained after that. And he was hard up for cash. So in the late 2000s, he wrote a book called Life with My Sister Madonna. And it was not flattering.
Oh, boy.
But apparently they made amends before he died of cancer.
Well, that's good.
Next on the sibling royalty list, Tito Jackson.
One of the Jackson 5.
Yeah. And had a solo career as well.
Did he?
Oh, my God. Yes, he did.
Oh, well, that's nice.
He released the album Tito Time in 2016.
Everybody knows Tito Time.
And the single Get It, Baby.
Should have got with Tito's vodka.
True.
Tito Time.
And then we have Chad McQueen, son of
Steve.
He was in the Karate Kid movies.
Oh.
Were you a fan of those?
Not really.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Sort of. The first one.
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Pat Morita, who starred with Jay Leno in Collision Course.
Right.
What is it like to be the son of Steve McQueen?
It's got to be a lot.
His son died of organ failure.
Jesus.
He appeared in Cobra Kai.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait. Or the Cobra Kai episode was dedicated to his memory.
Yeah, they were trying to get him to reprise his role as Dutch.
And he didn't.
Yeah.
Why not?
He had commitments to his company, McQueen Racing.
Oh, please.
And problems with his racing injuries.
And you can't appear on a TV show?
He was hurt.
You know who else was hurt? Is Catherine Crosby.
Oh.
Bing's widow.
Oh, wow. So his punching bag.
I think that was his children.
Oh, it's just the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
She was also an actress and singer. Appeared in Anatomy of a Murder and The Big Circus.
Oh.
And then we have Judith Belushi.
Uh-huh.
You know who she was married to?
Chris Farley?
But she was not there the night of John's death.
Oh, wow.
Remember?
Yeah.
It was someone else.
The dragon lady.
Not the dragon, but sort of the dragon lady.
Dragon face lady. She was a hard woman.
Kathy Smith.
Good old ugly Kathy Smith. Robin Williams' words, not mine.
So Judith Belushi, she was a producer, nominated for an Emmy Award.
Oh.
For Outstanding Nonfiction Series for her work on the program Biography, which was about her husband. And then we have Eleanor Coppola.
Oh.
Do you know who she was married to?
Get out of here.
Francis.
She's probably disgusted.
And she directed the movie Hearts of Darkness.
Oh.
About the making of Apocalypse Now.
Very nice.
You know, she's one of those that's kind of behind the scenes, like Polly Platt was with Peter Bogdanovich, where they have a woman at the center contributing to their success but not getting all the credit.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she was the one saying, I don't know if we should hire a pedophile again.
I don't think he consulted her on that one.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
It is. All right, what's our next category here?
We are moving on to entertainers/hosts, and we're starting with the amazing Kreskin.
What's so amazing about Kreskin?
Well, he was an American mentalist who became popular on TV in the 1970s.
So like an Uri Geller.
Sure.
In 2002, he made a prediction there would be a mass UFO sighting over Las Vegas, and it never happened.
On June 6th, between the hours of 9:45 and midnight. Man, some people are so committed to the bit.
Yeah.
And this isn't even like a bit. It's probably something he really believed.
Like, what's her name? Sylvia Brown.
Oh, God, yeah. I don't know if she believed anything she was saying, but she certainly
There is
committed.
a difference. You're right.
Yeah. He went on June 8th to... He was a guest on Coast to Coast with Art Bell to explain what happened.
Love Art Bell, by the way.
Yeah. Bell read Kreskin's press release over the air to the effect that the sighting prediction was a total fabrication in order to prove people's susceptibility to suggestion post 9/11. So this was a psyop, apparently. Was that, he made this prediction in order to make people feel gullible or prove that people are gullible.
Okay, well, I guess that's admirable.
Sure.
And that brings us to Crazy Cabby.
Lee Siegfried.
No, Lee Morozak.
Yes, that's his real name.
Oh, okay. So he was a character on the Howard Stern show.
Yeah.
During 9/11, he called in from his cab. And later on, he had a boxing match with Stuttering John and lost, which is embarrassing.
Yeah. That's brutal.
And then he went on the air, openly admitted that he's not paying taxes until they take care of some of his health expenses.
Sure.
Because he fought in the Gulf War. And so someone from the IRS heard that, and it ended with Crazy Cabby spending a year in jail.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't realize that when you have outstanding taxes like that and the IRS finds out and they send you to jail, I thought you go to jail instead of paying the taxes. But you go to jail and still he was ordered to pay his taxes.
Yeah.
How you pay it if you're in jail? You got to work.
I know.
It's crazy.
And then he had a falling out with Howard. Among other things, Howard didn't help him.
I was going to say, he probably hoped that Howard would pay his taxes.
Yeah. And the last appearance was when he went in to promote a weight loss supplement. But then Ralph, Howard's best friend and quasi-lover,
possible lover,
called in and said that, why is Cabby promoting a weight loss supplement when he's fat as hell?
Yeah.
So then Cabby tried to sue Howard for ruining his brand deal.
Wow.
And then ever since then, he's sort of floated into obscurity.
Yeah.
And he was not well.
No.
Now he's gone.
It's sad.
But very entertaining. You can hear compilations on YouTube that are hours long.
Yes.
And I highly recommend it.
Chuck Woolery is up next.
Okay, tell us about Chuck.
He is a far-right Republican, host of The Love Connection and Wheel of Fortune. I didn't realize he was the Wheel of Fortune guy from 75 to 81.
Hard to believe that that existed then.
I know.
Without Pat Sajak.
And Pat Sajak was a weatherman on the news and replaced Chuck Woolery, who was already a game show guy. So this weatherman comes in, takes your job, and then stays with it for the next 40 years.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, he was on Love Connection, Scrabble, Greed, and Lingo. And I guess he created a bunch of jingles and created a top 40 hit with the psychedelic pop duo, the Avant Garde. Didn't know that. But yeah, he was a beloved man in the 90s and 80s with all of his game shows that he was hosting. And then later in life came out as this like very staunch Republican. And a lot of people were turned off by it.
I can imagine.
He was accused of anti-Semitism in a series of tweets in 2017, saying
That recently.
saying, believe it or not, Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin were both Jewish. I was shocked to find most of the original Soviet communists were Jewish. The claim that communism is Jewish in origin forms the core of the anti-Semitic trope called Judeo-Bolshevism.
Bullshitism, he meant to say.
Woolery, after the criticism, he tweeted out, amazing to me, I point out that Marx and Lenin were Jewish, fact of history, and now I'm being called anti-Semitic. Why do people do this? Well, you did say they were Jewish, and they were both not great people. Well, Karl Marx was... He's was what he was. Lenin was a little bit worse.
A lot of it worse.
Yeah. He was married 5 different times. Talk about love connections there. And the father of 5 children.
So he had a kid per marriage.
Seems like he didn't have children with a couple different people.
Okay.
One of his kids was killed in a motorcycle accident in January 1986. Yeah.
And speaking of conservatives, did you know that Pat Sajak had a talk show, I think in 1990, around there? And as a guest host, you know who he had on, which gave him his first national exposure? Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, wow. Good old Rush.
So Chuck, Pat, Wheel.
Time to spin to the next.
Yes.
Peter Marshall.
The original host of Hollywood Squares.
That's crazy.
You know, with Paul Lynde instead of Bruce Valanche.
Those were the days.
Instead of Karen Johnson.
Karen Johnson. One of his children's name is Pete Lecoq. Peter Marshall was born Ralph Pierre Lecoq. So that was his name.
Pierre Lecoq?
Ralph Lecoq. I'm gonna Ralph on my cock. Wasn't he?
And
also...
then he married that wonderful lady named Sook.
Sook.
Yeah, and then she became Sook my cock.
Oh, nice.
Or Sook Lecoq.
He didn't get married to Penny Marshall.
Eh?
No, that he has nothing to do with Penny Marshall.
Okay. You know what else has nothing to do with Penny Marshall?
The death of Michael Mosley. Michael Hugh Mosley was a British television and radio journalist.
Promoter of the 5-2 diet, intermittent fasting.
Oh.
My dad was really into him.
No kidding.
It's where you would eat like 600 calories a day.
Oh, God.
Twice a week.
Jesus. Of course you're going to lose weight.
Just twice a week.
That is what we call a caloric deficit.
And then the other days you just eat normally.
Oh, you eat normally.
Yeah, it's not.
I thought you meant you don't eat anything and then 2 days a week you have 600.
No.
Like,
you
Jesus.
eat normally and then 2 days a week it's 600.
They had better nutrition at Auschwitz.
But this is weird. Like, he was a healthy guy, but he had a mysterious death.
Every health guru dies in a horrible fashion.
He went missing while on vacation with his family.
Wait.
He left the beach to walk to a small town, and his body was later found on the rocky slope outside of a resort.
Oof. Brutal.
That was a weird one.
Jeez, R.I.P.
Another weird one.
Alice Stewart.
CNN commentator.
Yes.
She was found dead outside.
It's crazy because she ran the New York Marathon in November 2023, and then just 7 months later, she was found dead outside of her house.
Yeah, she
at
had
58.
She just dropped dead.
She was healthy. Right. She did the run in 4 hours and 18 minutes.
I don't know what happened.
They say no foul play. That's scary.
Yeah.
And others, was he CNN? Lou Dobbs?
Yeah.
He also passed away this year, July 18th, 2024. I mean, this guy's career spanned a long time.
Moneyline. Lou Dobbs Tonight. He had a show on iHeartRadio as well.
Would appear on Bill O'Reilly.
Expert in economics.
Also known for his anti-immigration views, warnings about Islamist terrorism.
Okay.
And opposition to outsourcing businesses. And he was also known for his pro-Trump coverage.
And he promoted the birther movement about Barack Obama, which is when he exited from CNN.
Yep.
Controversial guy.
Wow. You know?
Lou, know what I mean?
Nice.
And now Lou want to go to the next one?
Yeah, Sam Rubin, 64 years old.
Sam Rubin, KTLA correspondent, staple of Hollywood.
Who
Where do we begin?
famously made the blunder of thinking Samuel L. Jackson was Lawrence Fishburne.
I'm not Lawrence Fishburne.
You know why people all think I'm the same?
He was so embarrassed. And he never lived that down.
Yeah.
You know what movie he appeared in?
Where?
From one of your favorite franchises?
Sam Rubin.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Whoa!
He was the talk show host. Do you remember that scene with Heather?
Holy shit.
Langenkamp?
Yeah, and Freddie comes out.
Yeah.
And he's doing, "You're all my children now."
Hey, let's do lunch.
Yes.
That's Sam Rubin as the host.
Wow. I never realized that.
And besides the Sam Jackson moment, he also had a viral moment with Mel Gibson where he told him that he was offended by his Jewish tirade.
Ooh. I haven't seen that one. I got to go back and look at that.
He just dropped too.
Yeah.
The hell happened to him?
He didn't feel good. He called out of work the day before, and then the next day he was found dead.
Ugh. And his son gave a really moving eulogy on air because he was about to graduate.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, seemed like a great guy, other than not
Couldn't
knowing.
keep black actors straight, but
Yeah.
who can?
Yeah, right? Oh, the next one, you talk about a quintessential person of the 90s, Phil Donahue.
And the 80s.
And the 80s, yeah. I mean, he was on TV all the time at my Nana's house.
In fact, he was one of the first people to talk about the HIV outbreak.
Wow.
In the 80s, at a time when it was really important to talk about it.
Right.
Even though he was so influential in the sort of trash talk show scene,
Yeah.
he really was never trashy.
Right.
He had a really good show.
I remember he had Marilyn Manson on
Yeah,
at the
and-
beginning because his content was kind of shocking. He would have, racists on with
for sure.
people who were, black and Jewish and stuff like that. So it did lead to some infighting on stage, but he was facilitating it and wanted to have an honest conversation. But then you had people like Jerry Springer who really took it to the next level where they were really trying to ham it up and make a spectacle of it instead of having an honest conversation.
And there would be no Oprah without Phil Donahue.
Right.
So R.I.P.
Yes. Next up, Charles Osgood.
So he hosted CBS This Morning.
CBS News Sunday Morning.
For many years.
Yep.
And he was great at it.
Apparently he was I didn't realize he was the narrator in Horton Hears a Who.
Wow.
2008.
Good for him. Osgood for him.
Nice.
And we got another NPR guy, Bob Edwards.
Oh.
Host of Morning Edition.
All Things Considered, Morning Edition.
Or I thought you were saying All Things Considered.
The Bob Edwards Show.
The Bob Edwards Show. Who would have thunk it?
The Bob Edwards Show, hosted by Alejandro Dial.
Yeah, so those are staples.
Yeah.
Of NPR, PBS, CBS.
Yeah.
And you know who's a staple of her own?
Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Motherkin Ruth.
Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
She was everywhere in the 90s.
Cultural icon. She was the face of sex.
You knew who she was as a kid, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Great. She was everywhere.
I remember seeing her promos on HBO. I think it was for the show Dream On. She was constantly being used as a joke.
Oh, yeah.
But yet, a respectful joke.
So old lady talking about sex.
Because she, right. Just like that other one from Canada.
The Canadian one, yeah.
Who we covered, I think, last year.
Sue Johansson.
Yes.
Yeah, just old ladies talking about fucking.
What is the appeal of an old lady talking about sex? And I'm not saying that in the sense that I don't love it.
Yeah.
I'm asking. I'm wondering why I want to watch that so badly.
Because they're so far removed from, the act of sex. Yeah. And you think old people are they seem so innocent, but they've lived through more than anything we have.
Right.
Thus far.
A lot of her family perished in World War II.
Jesus.
She's a survivor.
Well, she was Jewish in Germany. That's pretty crazy.
At the time that you wouldn't want to be Jewish in Germany.
Yeah, 0 stars do not recommend. Yeah, her parents sent her to Switzerland to be safe, and then they stayed behind to take care of the elderly grandmother, and they were killed in concentration camps. That's brutal.
Yeah. She wrote 45 books on sex. You know, I want to go back and read some of those.
Yeah.
What does she have to say about it?
Teach you how to do it.
She was Frank.
She was Ruth.
I love that. That's a good way to transition.
Dr. Ruth, we hardly knew ye.
And now we're going to get to Dick.
Dick Simmons. Mr. Richard Simmons.
Hello.
Milton Teagle Simmons.
Sweating to the oldies.
What's up, everybody? I'm Milton Simmons. Yeah, I guess Richard is probably better.
It is.
Yeah.
He was in hiding for the past, decade?
Really sad. Yeah.
Before that, he was everywhere.
I didn't realize you were the one that showed me he was on the Howard Stern show a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a falling out.
Well, he was on early. He's been on Stern since the 80s.
Yeah.
And Howard always talked about the time he had Richard over for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a party. And Richard started throwing all the sandwiches in the swimming pool. So he stopped inviting him over. And then in the later appearances, it was hilarious and also hard to watch at the same time.
Yeah.
Because Howard would try to have a serious interview.
Yeah.
Then Richard would leave crying.
Oof.
Because of the jokes that were made at his expense.
I mean, it happened.
Letterman would do the same thing. That was their thing.
Yeah.
But it started with Howard, though. But remember that? The Letterman appearances?
Oh, yeah. He wouldn't be too kind to people I don't know, people who annoyed him or just seemed like too much.
Yeah.
He would, really rip into them. Crispin Glover being one of them.
Right. Yeah, and so Richard Simmons, sweating to the oldies, made him a gazillionaire.
Yeah, my Nana had the tapes.
And what was it, the Wheels to Meals or Meals to Wheels?
Meals on Wheels?
Yeah, Meals on Wheels.
Oh, I didn't realize he created that.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot he created that. Yeah, and then, he had all this success and became pretty much a shut-in the later years of his life. And people were worried about him. TMZ would go to his house and see him in the window.
Yeah.
He was feared dead for a long time, but then he started arguing with Pauly Shore.
Right.
About using his likeness in a feature film. He made a short film that's 6 minutes long.
Which was terrible.
I didn't mind him in it. I thought he was
Come on.
right.
He did not seem like Richard Simmons.
I thought he was good enough.
I would see the movie, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it felt like Pauly Shore.
Yeah. I thought it was all right.
No, it was fine, but it was Pauly Shore.
Yeah. I got lost in it.
Sure.
I'm
about to get lost here.
Pauly Shore. But yeah, I mean, it's sad that he spent, the last year of his life arguing with Pauly Shore about using his likeness and then just fucking croaks.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was doing a lot more, but that's the last. He said he was working on his own movie and trying to get his own people in it.
And infamously, he made me cry last summer when talking about his death.
That's right.
Because I talked about how in New Orleans, when he was a kid, he was viciously beaten by this bully.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bully came to him later in life and requested that he call his wife because she was morbidly obese.
Mm-hmm.
Just the level of compassion that Richard Simmons had. He was always on the phone with people that needed some counseling.
That's amazing.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
So we should move on to the next one, which you can hear next week.
Bum, bum, bum.
We will be back with everyone you haven't heard so far.
In Memoriam, Part 2, 2024.